back to the American who killed it. No kidding. 2013, I'm in Kabul. I was a senior police advisor in Kabul in 13. My last Army gig thing there. So anyway, we have all these camps. We had a new NKC, new Kabul compound. We had Camp Phoenix. We had all kinds of places where we were relying on Afghan linguists and Afghan workers to clean the DFAC or you name it, whatever the hell they were doing. And everything's percolating along. And one day, suddenly, I get a call from this major general. And he's like, John, I got a problem. And I'm like, what's the problem, sir? He goes, well, Counterintel has denied every Afghan worker the right to come onto the bases in Kabul. And therefore, there's nobody at the DFAC. There's nobody filling up, cleaning stuff out. We have no linguists. We have no translators. We have no nothing. Something's happened. I need you to figure it out. And I was like, because I was kind of a fireman. And I knew people who robbed people. So I was like, okay, I'll go figure it out. So I went over to the Counterintel place. I'll just call it that. And I went in and I said, blah, 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 here, blah, 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 blah. What happened? Of course, they said, we don't know you, F off. I said, well, okay, you can call this general if you want to, or we can work this out together. Yeah. I don't really care. You call the general.
That'd be nice here. Right.
Or we can just work it out. So they decided to work it out. And I said, well, okay, so what happened? And they said, well, every one of these guys has made a false official statement to get their work. They've all lied to get their work. And therefore, they're all a security risk. And we got to revamp this whole thing. And it was like this. It was this warrant officer, right? And I'm like, Chief, do you understand what
no,
you
he doesn't.
And he goes, I don't really care. This is a national security issue. And green on blue had started, right? And this is about green on blue and blah, 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 blah. And I went, okay, cool. What's your basis for doing this? And he said, well, this is the form they have to fill out in order to apply for a job. And right here, it says driver's license. And I went, yeah, that's cool. Driver's license. And all of these driver's license numbers are fake. And I went, well, how do you know they're fake? And he said, well, I got with the Minister of Interior, and they say that none of these driver's licenses are good. And I went, so you believe the Minister of Interior? He goes, yes, I do. I know that guy, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, well, let me just tell you how it works, Skip. There's no such thing as a driver's license in Afghanistan. Right. They don't exist. They don't have a so what people don't know is I'm also a lawyer, right? I got all this education, and I take my little legal background and I usually apply it to problems. And I go, what's the legal? What could be the grassroots problem here for this legal issue? So anyway, I explained that to him, and he said, I don't believe you. And I went, okay, cool. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk off the base right now, and I want you to go with me. And he goes, whoa, I'm not leaving the base. And I said, okay, look. I'll protect you, and we're going to go across the street, and I'm going to get you an Afghan driver's license. And he goes, you can't do that. I said, yeah, I can. So we walked across. We actually got him to go across the street from Camp Phoenix. There's a little shop that's set up. It's got a little sign that says Afghan driver's license here. You go in and you give them $5. They take a picture of you. They give you a number. They got a little computer. They got a little printer, and they create Afghan driver's licenses. And they're right across the street from Phoenix. Because when we did the regressive analysis, what we learned was someone back when they created Phoenix in the day, and they said, we got to hire civilians. They took an employee, I'm not kidding. They took an employee employment checklist from Andrews Air Force Base. We backtracked through, and they took the heading off and they put on Camp Phoenix. And everything on that checklist you had to have. And one of the things, usually in the US, to get a job, you got to have a driver's license. So it said driver's license number. So I'm sure in 2004, a bunch of people went, man, how do I get a driver's license? And some sharp cat said,
I'll make you one.
Yeah. And he went across the street and he set up shop. And I talked to that guy. I had a conversation with him. I said, tell me how you started your business. And he literally goes, well, everybody had to have a driver's license. So I took all that information up to the general who was in charge at the time. I won't name him. And he was chagrined. He was chagrined, and it took about 24 hours to do all this stuff, and he overturned the policy. And he said, okay, just take off the driver's license so they don't have to lie.
Right.
And I had to get an affidavit from the Minister of Interior saying there was no such thing as a transportation code, and there was no such thing as an Afghan driver's license, but they did have Tezkerats.
So
there you go.
I want to add to this, and I want to squarely point at those warrant officers, those counterintelligence warrant officers, and I can say this as a counterintelligence agent. You dumb motherfuckers. You guys have no idea what you're doing. You don't fire people off of camps in a counterinsurgency environment. I got fired, by the way, for doing this one time, John. And I was saying this to this team. If you're going around camp to camp and firing all of this, I was out in Konar province, right? A place.
Konar, yeah.
And so these guys were going all around like Konar, Jalalabad, that whole area, because they had the magical machine that told if you were telling lies. And they said, yeah, but these guys are all tied to the Taliban. And I'm like, look around, bro. I'm tied to the Taliban. I mean, everybody. Come on. And so here's the thing. If you're a counterintelligence, I'm talking right to you, chief. If you have a bunch of talent working on your camp, you don't think you're supposed to be flipping these guys and running double and even possibly triple agent operations?
Exactly.
Come on. I mean, you've got access to these people. You can find a way to create an incentive. They've got access. They've got placement. Your job, you're not a cop. And like you said, they did this stupid stuff in Iraq too, John. I'm sure you remember this. They're like, well, that's not a legal national ID. I'm like, you know what? That dude thinks it is. He says it is. Good enough for me. You know? Yeah. Well, I went to the training and it doesn't have the proper. Who cares? That guy may not even know about that. You're talking about something from an actual government. This is not an actual government yet, right? It drives me crazy when people do this shit and they make it hard for everybody else to do their damn job because of something stupid like a damn. Everybody knows that a California license starts with an alpha or an alphabetic character, and you're like, yeah, who cares? Who cares?
I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
No,
you can't make it up. It's like, what are you talking about? Driver. No, it's and then no kidding, that's a false official statement.
Right.
I'm like, well, yeah, there are false official statements, and then there are false official statements.